The automotive industry is at some serious crossroads right now. Now, I'm not going to teach you anything you don't already know. I mean, with the increasing price of energy, fuel, oil, and so on, automakers are struggling and racing to design, introduce, build, and deliver EVs more than anything else. But there's a weird thing, you know, and it's called making money and running a business, where these same automakers have to build and sell the vehicles that they began designing 4 years, 5 years ago, maybe even longer, and that they've introduced 3 years ago. And right, I think you get my point. And one of the segments that's really at odds with where the world is, and I do mean the world, not specific markets, but where the world is turning, and that's essentially away from mastodons like this 2022 Wagoneer, if only because of their immense thirst for oil. But the sad part is that today in 2022, I don't think that there has ever been a crop of these full-size SUVs that has ever been as enticing. And just focus on what these things are designed to do, right? I mean, they've never been more comfortable, luxurious, capable, packed with features, safety and otherwise. And they've never been better at doing their job than they are today. But the thing is, you know, at $2 a liter, give or take, in Canada, and maybe $5 a gallon in the US, give or take, again, you know, just a trip to the in-laws on the weekend, 50 kilometers one way, and then 50 kilometers to come back at 20 liters per 100 kilometers, that's like $45, give or take, of fuel just to go and see the in-laws for dinner, for example. That's a hefty toll, and it is weighing down. Now, whether or not in North America, specifically Canada and the US, this will put a massive dent in SUV sales, such as the brand new Wagoneer, which in a nutshell is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, I kind of just said it, right? In this segment, I mean, and I'm including the GM trucks, which are beautiful. I mean, and then there's this, and then there's the new Sequoia. Anyhow, they're all, I've not driven a new Sequoia. I can't wait to do that because I am a fan of those trucks. But effectively, these full-size trucks are all about a decade too late. They should have been introduced in 2012 so that at cheaper fuel costs, say $2 a gallon or $3 a gallon or $1.25 a liter, give or take, you know, we wouldn't feel the pinch, the wallet pinch, whatever, you know, and the guilt essentially associated with driving one of these. Anyway, I've obviously not spoken anything or almost about the new 2022 Wagoneer, and that's going to come up for real, well, actually right now, as we do the long walk around of this Wagoneer, and then we take the big V8 for a spin. Hang in there. And by the long walk around, I seriously do mean a long walk around. This thing measures 5.45 meters in overall length. And you probably know this and have heard it, but Wagoneer, Jeep, Stellantis, whatever, have announced that for the 2023 model year, there will be a Wagoneer L and a Grand Wagoneer L version offered, which will effectively add 12 inches or 31 centimeters to this SUV's already considerable length. So you'll be looking at a near 6 meter long SUV. That's just insane. Specifically, 12 inches will go in the overall length, as I just mentioned. 7 inches is what I wanted to say, will go in the already considerable 123-inch wheelbase. That's just completely nuts. It's going to be overall 246.7 inches, if memory serves. As we continue to tour around the Wagoneer, look, I've said it really, the styling is where I'm going. It really fits in Stellantis, Jeep, whatever's pyramid scheme of models. I mean, I said that the Grand Cherokee L was very ordinary and non-special looking, whereas I gushed over the Grand Wagoneer. It also happened to be a Series 3 and it was just dressed to the nines. I mean, look, the Wagoneer, it's a good looking truck. I love the front end, you know, the grille, the way it's designed. There are plenty of Easter eggs. I mean, this is a Wagoneer, it's not a Jeep, but it's still obviously part of the Jeep family. They're all over the place. Okay, so I just mentioned Series 3. So it's the same trim laydown for the Wagoneer as the Grand Wagoneer. Now, in Canada and the US, slightly different plan as to how that works. There is, in Canada, the base model is this one. Series 2, whereas in the US is a Series 1, so there's a massive difference in price where that's concerned. So it starts at $80,995 in Canada, $58,995 in the US. The other major difference is that 4x4 is standard for us, while two-wheel drive is standard in the US. Now, if you work your way up to the Series 3, which is a top trim for both markets, $86,995 in Canada, $77,640 in the US. There's also in Canada a carbide option package, $5,000 to get you black 22-inch wheels and a bunch of other blacked out stuff and a few other touches. As standard for $81,000 in Canada, you get a fully loaded premium SUV. 10.1-inch touchscreen display with it, Uconnect 5 perforated Napa leather, Alpine audio, 20-inch wheels, power liftgate, power seats, 8-passenger configuration, Quadra-Track, 5.7-liter Hemi V8, and so on and so forth. There's only one thing missing, essentially, in the base trim, and that's the Quadra-Lift air suspension. That's right. And you may have noticed in the opening sequence of my video that there was very little wheel gap, whereas now there's lots of wheel gap. That's because my tester has the option. Essentially, it's part of the Convenience Package 1 or Convenience Group 1 for $4,700. Includes also a heads-up display and the adaptive dampers and a few other things. Worth every penny, which with the paint price, you're looking at just shy of $87,000. I mean, that's a lot of money, but this is a lot of SUV. And it's kind of like the Grand Wagoneer, where I said that the value proposition, the amount of kit and tech and everything that's included, it's a good deal. It's kind of nuts to say, but it actually is. All right, so let's go ahead and tour the inside. Oh, before I do that, I love the lettering, how they're widely spaced, and every surface is kind of, you can see the brush strokes in it where it was kind of polished. Okay, all right, so power hatch. I'm being attacked by, is it a bee or a wasp? I hope it's just a bee and it's very friendly. Okay, so behind the third row, 800 liters of trunk space. So like the Wagoneer, I mean, I don't see it. I mean, unless you go all the way to the ceiling, but it's not entirely usable. And even if you factor in that, not really. But with the third row down, you're looking at 2,000 liters of trunk space. And what I like to say in a situation like this is, if that's not enough boot volume, then you're living life wrong. Or maybe you're living life to the absolute fullest. I don't know. Lots of big trunk. All right, so second row. So my seating configuration, 2, 3, 3 in the third row. Actually, I'll just climb in. So as standard, it's 2, 3, 3. Like I just said, there's an optional captain seats configuration for the second row. What's really great about the third row in this thing is that you can actually sit comfortably back there. There's plenty of room, and the seat cushion is high up enough where you bend your knees. So it works out really well. HVAC controls back here. Loads of room, actually. The seat back, I just realized, is a little too reclined, but there's plenty of space. You can probably squeeze 5 across there if you allow your kid to take it for a spin. Not my 5-year-old, but you know, you're a 17-year-old. Up front, where you want to be. Just see, the important stuff and what Stellantis does really well, better than Ford, and I have to say better than GM, is the craftsmanship and the details, and like kind of the old meeting the new, meeting the plush. I think I mentioned Alpine audio as part of the package for the Series 2 as well in Canada. It just looks really good, and it's completely premium. Power seats, I think I mentioned that too. I think it's 12-way. room, space. It's just, the interior of this thing is so welcoming, so well laid out. 10.1 inch Uconnect 5, as I mentioned, fully digital IP. This fantastic flat bottom 2-spoke steering wheel. I love it. It's again, it's old school but modern. Speaking of old school and modern, what I love, what Stellantis has done is combine like fixed controls here, menus on the screen, and hard buttons and dials. This serves all purposes and will make 30-year-olds and 70-year-olds happy the way it's configured and laid out. It's just fantastic. What else can I say? Look, the fit and finish is superb. I mean, the materials are obviously not as nice as in the Grand Wagoneer, but overall, it's superb. Loads of storage. Oh yeah, this is another line of important controls. This, meh. I mean, that's probably one of 2 mehs on the inside, but it's okay. This, I'm not sure why there would be any driving modes in a vehicle like this, but that doesn't matter. There's your air suspension setup. So as you can see, I'm in the max position. I think I started on storage. So storage, massive storage. The only downside-ish, right, is visibility. The other downside with the rotary dial. I mean, in my lowest driving position, what happens when you come around here is, whoa, you kind of got that too. Huh? The handle is really close to the steering wheel, and it kind of comes into your line of sight, and the base of the A-pillar is massive. The mirrors are huge, but you know what? It's very manageable. I mean, this is just an absolutely welcoming place. You want to spend hours and hours in here, and well, I guess now it's time to burn some of that expensive fuel and go for a drive. I just had to step outside for a second just to soak in the 5.7 liter Hemi's idle. It's a little lumpy coming out the tailpipe, the glug, 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 and look, it's going to be missed, terribly missed when it'll be gone. But in the meantime, we can enjoy its 392 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque at just under 4,000 RPM, 3950, I think. It's enough speed, it's enough power. It's got e-torque, so it's a 48-volt mild hybrid system, so it does help, I think, with overall average fuel consumption numbers. But yeah, you know what? Look, I think Stellantis Wagoneer says you can expect to average around 15 liters per 100 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's a little bit lower than that, the actual number, maybe a little closer to 14, your combined average. But there's no way. There's just no way. I'm alone, or have been. You know, the kids don't weigh that much, and I'm ashamed to say that I can't get it really under 17. And it's not cold outside. There's no snow and this whatever. But you know, that's the $45 trip to the in-laws that I was talking about before. But the thing is, okay, this is a 6,200 pound SUV that can tow up to 10,000 pounds with the 8-speed automatic transmission standard, whatever. So I can't even realistically imagine what real world, trailer towing, camping gear, kids, wife, the whole fam on board, with maybe even a roof box. But like the Grand Wagoneer, with that weeded out, this truck is unbelievable. I seriously, I wish I had unlimited credit and I would drive straight to wherever the road takes me without second guessing what's going on. It's so smooth. The adaptive dampers and the air suspension just cosseting, levels everything out. The ride quality is superb, and I'm doing a little bit more than the speed limit. And no, I know that doesn't help fuel economy, but it's still so quiet in here. The power, the V8 it's glass smooth. The transmission shifts are you never ever notice them, and even when you can barely feel it, dropping down 2 or 3 gears to get to that extra power to get you moving. I've been in the auto drive mode the whole time. I think I clicked into sport once, and it's not part of what this truck is supposed to be. It's just a manufacturing selling gimmick. What more can I say about this truck? When I stepped out of the Wagoneer, the Grand Wagoneer, apologies, I know that I would have one over an Expedition or a Navigator, over an Escalade. I'm not a huge fan of the Escalade, but I'd have a Yukon or a Tahoe in the drop of a hat. And I can't wait to drive the Sequoia. The Armada is just from a different time. It doesn't fit anywhere other than being in the same segment. But I don't know. I'd be torn between the Wagoneer and the Tahoe or Yukon. When the L's come, it'll be the same situation where you get a Suburban or Yukon XL or a Grand Wagoneer or a Wagoneer L. This truck is it's 10 years, like I said. It's just, its greatest fault is that it's too late, but it's not too late. It's because the world is changing. The automotive industry is under a tremendous amount of pressure. The automakers still have to sell these vehicles because they're massively profitable. In order to fund the EV development, which is ongoing, look, the bottom line is, if you're a Wagoneer fan or a Jeep fan and you want the big truck, spend the extra few bucks, whatever it is, 10K give or take, over a Grand Cherokee L. Get the V8 and enjoy it. Just absolutely bask in its greatness. The only surefire way that I would end up in a Wagoneer or a Grand Wagoneer over the GM trucks is with the wood appliqué. I said it and I mean it, and I would definitely do it. Anyhow, this thing is just an absolute winner. It's a dream of an SUV. Whichever automaker, I'm willing to bet that GM's going to get there a little faster. Whichever automaker manages to put a massive battery in this thing, or maybe even Ford, in one of these large 3-row full-size SUVs, people are going to just kill themselves over trying to get one, as they are for the Lightning, for example, and they are for the Silverado EV. I'm so sorry, I'm going on and on and on. But yeah, this thing is, I love it. You want to get rear-ended. The question you have to ask yourself is why? Why do you want to get yourself rear-ended? Oh, this is beautiful. 2h30. The question is, where do I focus my energy?